As the Republicans go head-to-head over changing the rules for the next debates, my next guest has offered to host a brand new one. That's Glenn Beck. He's the founder of The Blaze and author of The Immortal Nicholas. Hello, Mr. Beck. How are you?
How are you?
I'm great. So why would you make a better debate host on The Blaze than the other people have done?
Well, I will tell you this. I thought Anderson Cooper did an unbelievable job. I thought it was one of the best debates I've ever seen when Anderson did the Democratic debates. I thought he was fair and he was hard-hitting. I thought with the CNBC debates, I thought they were extraordinarily cheap, petty, ridiculous. How much time do we have to spend with picking fights with one another and asking silly questions about fantasy football? The people who are voting for the Republicans, this is a primary, so the people who are voting for these guys want to know the real issues. They want to know the answers to the real issues and what makes these guys different from one another.
But some people would say, you know, oh, it's kind of whiny. You can't pick the whole thing because even in the GOP, the fight to reform this, there's a fight to reform the debate process. But Chris Christie, John Kasich, Carly Fiorina, they say stop complaining. Should the format?
No. So does Ted Cruz. So does Bobby Jindal.
Should it be a different format?
I want you to know, nobody's complaining about the questions are too hard. In fact, just the opposite. I was recommending that we do a debate where the questions are very, very focused. I would be a moderator, but I would not be asking all of the questions per se. I think people like Elon Musk should ask questions on the future of the economy. I think Thomas Sowell should ask questions about the economy. I think we should get Robbie George from Princeton to talk about faith and the Constitution and ask very difficult, hard-hitting questions that we can actually educate ourselves and see what the difference is. Nobody's complaining. In fact, we're suggesting a much more difficult debate.
How many people? You think there are too many people up there? Because how can you, in a matter of 2 hours, and they want it to be shorter, how can you really get substance from when you have that many
We are
people
looking at The Blaze. We have an opportunity. I mean, we have a footprint of about 50 million people between all of our properties. We have .com radio, internet radio, podcasting. And so we have an opportunity to change it. And our view is the debate on The Blaze would be much different. Everyone would get a chance to answer every single question, but most of it would be categorized later. You would get those questions as soon as they walked off the stage. Everyone be able to answer each question that everyone was asked.
Glenn, Carson in the headlines today for a commencement speech he made 17 years ago, where he said that it was his personal belief, this is his personal belief, that the pyramids were built as storehouses for grain and not, as archaeologists say, for the interment of dead pharaohs.
Scientifically plausible?
It's a plausible explanation. It's a personal belief because I happen to believe a lot of things that you might not believe because I believe in the Bible.
I mean, first of all, it's his personal opinion, so I think that's important to point out. And maybe his faith, you know, has some information or believes some things that I don't understand. But not being a scholar on Exodus, but the granaries, the grain cities were Pitom and Ramesses, if I'm not mistaken, and nothing about Giza. And so I don't know where he's getting that. But with that being said, does it matter? I mean,
that's
really,
what I'm asking you. Does it?
I don't think it does. I think he's wrong, but I don't think it does.
Let's talk about Jeb Bush. NBC News obtained audio from a conference call Jeb Bush made to donors. Here it is.
I'll head back home, do a little preparation on the debate. I promise you I'll do better. All the notice bellies on the call, chill out. We're going to do better, I promise you. And this is going to be a fun campaign.
Okay. So chill out? I mean, should his donors chill out?
No, his donors should. If I were a donor of his, I'd be asking for my money back. I mean, I don't think that I just don't think there's a shot that Jeb is going to be the nominee at this point. Could be wrong, but I just don't see it. He is the guy who expected a coronation. He's the right's Hillary Clinton, a guy who, you know, has been brought up in the ranks, and everybody is like, I don't really like him, but I guess, until we happen to have a lot of other people on the right that we can choose from. And as soon as you put a lot of people up there that we can choose from, you're like, no, I don't really like that guy. And I contend that if you had 16 really qualified candidates, or 9 qualified candidates that were running against Hillary Clinton, Clinton wouldn't get it either.
So behind you, I see the snow falling. It looks like you're, living in
Dallas.
in a
It's
snow
crazy
globe.
cold here.
I can't believe it. So, but I want to know why your new book. It's called The Immortal Nicholas. Why should people
Yeah.
buy it this holiday season?
It is my way. I wrote this really 4 years ago. Started to write it for my kids because I was really tired of my kids just talking about Santa and not about the real reason behind Christmas. And so this is a total redo on the Santa character, and it starts with him as the guy who was gathering the frankincense for the first gift. But he is radically, radically different than anything that you might think of Santa Claus. It's a story that spans over 1,000 years and answers the question, how did he become immortal?
Okay. I have a question for you before I let you go. You going to watch Saturday Night Live this weekend?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, is NBC going to release any more video that they shouldn't release? I mean, I love this with NBC. They release the wrong promos, and somehow or another, they blame that on incompetence, but we should trust them with the debate. Come on, NBC.
Glenn, are you going to watch the darn show or no?
Probably, yeah.
All right, I
mean,
knew it. How
yeah.
could you miss it? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Stay warm there in Dallas. I mean, it's awfully cold, it looks like.
Freezing.
Glenn Beck, thanks. We'll be right back.